Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I am starting our Wednesday live stream. We do this every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time, and I usually stay on here for about 2 hours or so, sharing my thoughts on wargaming and talking about what I'm doing, what's on my table, maybe just chit-chatting about maybe what you've got on your table or whatever, just whatever project we've got running. Okay, so I'm trying to get this out of the way. I guess I could put it there. I've got so many monitors, but you never have enough. I need to get a fourth monitor and put it somewhere else where I could like put chat on it or something. I don't know. Okay, so I actually have a million different things that I want. Okay, I'm looking over there to see my video to make sure that everything is running smoothly. So I'm going to change this up just a little bit. Okay, that's perfect there. That way, when I look at my video of my stream to make sure everything's running good, I'm also looking at the camera. So, it's like killing two birds with one stone. And then I got the chat in the middle. And the chat is like right here next to my camera, so I could see that. And then I've got all this extra stuff over here that doesn't need to be in my grill. Okay, good. Okay, so welcome to the stream. Appreciate you guys. If you're watching this later on YouTube, at your own pace, at your own time of day or whatever, welcome. Thank you for coming out and checking out the stream. We do this every Wednesday. If you're able to make it live, you can chat with me and I'll try to respond to you as best I can. But otherwise, just sit back, get a drink, get something to snack on, or lunch or breakfast, or get a coffee or a tea or whatever you like to drink, and have a seat and just relax for an hour. You can always listen to this later, like maybe when you're on the road. A lot of this, whoa, okay, hang on. Got a little piece of metal here, which is supposed to be in that box. Okay. Cleaning up while I'm talking to you guys. Okay, there it is. Okay, so just really as a quick overview of what's on my table, I have approximately 150 U.S. Rangers sitting right here. This is a commission that I'm working for one of my customers. I was planning on working on these today on camera if we have time. So this is going to be the last thing I touch. It does take up the most space. And I will have to admit, painting 150 models in one sitting is demoralizing. It's hard. It's not hard. It's not, it's not like it's a complicated work, but it's hard emotionally. It's hard. Yeah, I guess emotionally, because normally I'll take a platoon of like 30 guys and I'll paint all their boots and then all their pants and all their flesh and all their helmets and all their weapons. And then the next day I'll come back in and get all their packs and gear and all that stuff. And then maybe on the third day I'll wash them and I'll base them with, good basing materials or whatever. And then in like 3 or 4 days, I'll have a platoon finished, right? But when you're talking about 5 platoons, it takes me all week to do just the pants and the boots, right? And then it'll take me a whole nother week to do the flesh and the jackets. And then a whole nother week to do the helmets and the gear or whatever. And so what I'm trying to say is, I feel like I'm not accomplishing anything. But when I'm done, I'm going to have 150 of these suckers done. So if you're a this is mainly me just bitching, but if you're a potential customer, a client of mine, and you're considering sending me some miniatures to paint for you, please don't send me hundreds of models at once. Please break it up. Send me a battalion. Like if you're playing Napoleonics, right? And your battalion is 24 figures or even 36 figures. Send me that. Don't send me your entire Quatre Bras army of 2,000 models. I'll never get it done. So send me little pieces at a time. I'll paint them in a week or less and ship them back to you. But when I'm looking at this right here is mainly because I've been doing things in between. But this has been taking me almost a month. First of all, some of the colors I'm researching, right? So I'm taking my time to make... This guy's going to pay me for this, right? So I don't want to do it wrong. I don't want to do it haphazard. And I don't want to be sloppy. So I'm taking my time. But then when you slap on 150 of these guys, it becomes... Well, I should finish these fairly quickly now that all the research is done, all the decision-making is done. These guys should be knocked out pretty quickly, maybe in 2 weeks. That's what I'm guessing. Hopefully less than that, but I'm going to work on this at the last part of the video. I'm not going to work on this at the beginning of the video, because I have a few things I want to talk about that are not that. Okay. Okay, I've got some drinks here. That is apple cinnamon tea from Celestial. I like it. Okay. I don't know where to begin, but let's start with this. Okay, I ordered and got a box. It's empty. No, but I ordered a box. It is a... Okay, where's my... Here it is. There's my description. A 1/100 scale P-47 Thunderbolt Snafu. Snafu was a specific Thunderbolt that took part in the Normandy landings and defended aircraft like bombers and stuff like that during the bomber raids from England to France and Germany. But that's here nor there. This is a die-cast metal historical P-47, right, in 15 millimeter. This is a 15 millimeter. 1/100 scale is 15 millimeter. Gives a little history right there. This is their This is Daron's postage stamp series, and it includes a display stand. This I got this as a game piece. Okay, let's kind of toss that off to the side. This is the game piece right here. Yes, that turns, but who cares? You got your snafu, you got his call letters, you got the Normandy stripes. You know, this thing weighs a good amount. It's die-cast metal, so it weighs. I didn't put it on the scale, but I'd give it a couple of pounds, you know. And I plan to use this on the table with my Battlegroup, right? Because there is a potential. The way Battlegroup is played is when something bad happens to your side, you have to draw a chit out of a bag. And those chits count against your battle rating. The higher the battle rating, the better. Because those chits are numbered, and those numbers count against your battle rating. If those chits ever total up to your battle rating, you lose the game. That basically your side surrenders, or you retreat off the battlefield, or whatever. That's the way Battlegroup, that's one of the ways to win in Battlegroup. But in those bags are chits that say airstrike. Okay, so not many. I think two out of like 40 or something like that. I didn't count them. No, there's got to be more than 40. There's probably like 80 chits in there, and 2 of them are airstrike. So there's a possibility that a plane will be coming in to attack the troops. Both sides need to have aircraft, and usually, depending on the scenario and the time period and the location, there's usually 2 aircraft you need. Like the Germans need a 109 and a 190, and the Americans need a Mustang and a P-47. Now, I already have a 109. It was a plastic kit, 1/100 scale. And then I have the P-47. This one is a die-cast metal kit. I didn't have to paint it. It looks beautiful. I totally dig this kit. I totally like this as a display. It's got the bombs. It's got its wheels raised. You know, it's got the checkerboard pattern. I really like it. And then it's got the snafu, a bunch of kills right there. Yeah, one down, and it's even got the red spot right there where you don't step, or maybe that is the only place to step, because there's your yeah, maybe that's a don't step. I don't know, but I mean, it's being red, right? So the only thing I don't like about it is this stand. It's a great stand. If I'm sitting it on my table, you know, as a display piece, great. It's a good stand. It even has like its P-47 and where to go to get these models, and snafu or scale 1/100. So it's for a display piece, it's perfect. I mean, that's what it's designed for. But as a game piece, and the table may be shaking, this stand doesn't seem to be very sturdy because of the weight of this. I've been thinking about getting a wooden disc and gluing this directly to that wooden disc to stabilize the stand. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm just going to get one of my general bases, one of the bases I use to mount my generals on, or mortar teams. You know, a base like this size, but made of wood. Yeah, I think that would be a much more stable platform for the table. Whoop, wrong one. So I plan to do that. Now, I'm having a hard time finding a 15mm 190 Focke-Wulf. I mean, I can find 144 scale Focke-Wulfs all over the place. They make them in millions. I can find 1/72nd scale Focke-Wulfs. They make those in the millions. Every company makes one. But 15mm or 1/100 scale Focke-Wulfs, not so much. So I think I am going to I'm going to do one of two things. I'm either going to go with the 144 scale, which is, it'd be much smaller, because I've got a 144, Thunderbolt, and it's like half this size. It's like the wingspan is as wide as the stripes. So it would just look like it would be too small. I've compared it up against the 15mm. It does look a little bit too small. Now, I've also considered 1/72nd, or 176, 172nd, 176. That's going to be a little bit bigger. It's going to be, probably this big compared to a 15 millimeter tank, right? But if I put this stand, if I make the stand high enough where it's not as low to the ground, like if it's up here where it probably should be, or even higher, then thought I heard a gear door. Okay, then it would be it won't be as noticeable, right? That's what I think. Plus, there's something called perspective, depth perspective, not depth perception, but depth perspective. So, being that it's up high, you're going to automatically assume it's going to be bigger because it's closer to your eyes, right? So you got this plane that's like the size of my hand up here will look right because you're looking down at a tank and it'll look like it's further away because of the perspective. So I'm actually thinking about grabbing a couple of 1/72nd scale models, a Mustang and a Focke-Wulf, because I'm having a hard time finding them in 15 millimeter. Now I know that they, like Battlefront's got some metal 15 millimeters, like these guys. They also have like Typhoons and Spitfires and stuff like that. Even the Stuka, but I need that specific. Yeah, so I'm probably gonna have to get some 1/72nd scale models and just make a stand that's at least 12 inches tall. And because if I get a plastic model, it's going to be lightweight, so it won't have the same kind of top heaviness that this thing would have. If I put this on a high stand, boy, it would just like bonk, unless I made the base of the stand super large. Now, I used to play a game called Blue Max back in the 90s. We played it on these vinyl mats that were made for a Games Workshop game way back in the day. I don't still have that game. It was like a checkers version of Warhammer. I can't remember what it was called. Battlescape? No, that's not it. That's something completely different. It was War Master? That sound right? War Master? I don't think War Master is correct. Battle Master. Maybe it was Battle Master. But either way, what it was there was like these 5-inch hexes on this battle map. And the battle map was kind of generic vinyl. And what we would do is we would lay a couple of those out on the table and we would play Blue Max, which is a World War I dogfighting game. And we would make these bases with plumbing attachments at the bottom, which are very heavy, and then put a car antenna up and we had to make sure it had 5 sections in the car antenna because there were 5 altitude levels in Blue Max. So you had your very low, low, medium, high, and very high, or whatever. And then we put these alligator clips at the top of the. No, it wasn't Mighty Empires. Hey, Mark, it wasn't Mighty Empires. It was full scale. It was the full 28 millimeter. You moved them around on these little bespoke plastic bases, and you could actually use those figures if you individually mounted them in Warhammer because they were the exact same models. Mostly it was like Orcs and Bretonnians or Orcs and Empire or something like that. But it was only that. There was no expansions or anything. But these bases were great. And we would move them around on these hexes, and we'd take our planes, and we would, because they had like a little ball on the end of a pinhead, on the bottom of the plastic model. The alligator clip would clip onto those balls, and then the plane could be tilted up and down, left and right. Not that you needed to, because in Blue Max you didn't really do that, but we tilted them anyway to give them the appearance that they're making their turn or whatever. We're nerds. And then if you dove, you reduced your antenna by one level, or if you climbed, you increased your antenna by one level. And so that was, I think I still have a whole box of those out in the garage. And if I do, it could probably even hold this thing up, because that plumbing thing on the bottom weighs a ton. But I wouldn't risk it with this, because this is just way too heavy. But a 1/72nd scale model, I don't have any problem putting it up here on one of those bases, right? I think it'll work great. I'll have to go grab one and test it out once I get a 1/72nd scale model in. I don't have one now, so I'm not stressing over it right now, but I need to get it done by August. Speaking of which, nashcon. If you guys are going to nashcon, I am running Battlegroup Lafayette Bridge scenario Saturday morning. So I'm in the Saturday morning session. That's my session. So I'll have to get there a little early, or wake up a little early to get all set up. You know, I think their first session normally starts at 9. I don't know when they're going to let the game masters in. Probably 8. They're probably not going to let us in too early. But because the last couple of times I went, there was, and depending on what room I'm in, I might be in a back room somewhere. And if that's the case, they'll probably let me in 24/7. That's not a problem. But if you're in the main hall, the main hall has all the dealers all the way around the outer edges, and then the gaming tables in the middle. But usually they reserve the main hall. I mean, I ran a couple of games in the main hall in the past, but lately, the last couple of years that I've gone, the only thing happening in the main hall are tournaments or sponsored events. People who are tournament organizers that paid the convention money to specifically have that location, which, I mean, hey, it's capitalism. I'm okay with that, right? So, and if they put me in a back room, that just means we'll have quiet. We won't have the doors are open, and there's probably 2 or 3 other games in those rooms, but it won't be like the main hall, which is just nonstop. A drone in the background. You can't hear yourself think. Okay, so that was the P-47. That was my game. That was my airplane plans coming forward in the future. Okay, let me go on to something else. These glasses sitting here are bothering me. Like, I don't know why they're sitting there. I've got something up here. I've got my OD green up here. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But my Shermans, and my Pumas. This all applies. This, maybe it's this one. Yep. Okay, so I've started the process of converting my pegs. Okay, none of these have a. Yeah, I grabbed these because none of those have a peg. Oh, wait, this guy does. Okay, so these pegs are included with your model when you get them from Flames of War. They would fit down inside that hole right there, right? So you just plop it in there, and now you got your turret, right? And it can turn around, and you just take it out, put it in, right? And if I wanted to put a different turret on there, I could line that up, and then I could have a totally different tank, depending on how you build up your stuff. Great. So I've started transitioning away from the peg towards magnets. Okay, and so I've got this Sherman turret, which you can see it's staying on, no problem. I filled the hole there with a magnet, and then I filled the hole there with a magnet, and it just clamps on. Now you got a turret. Comes right up. Right? Perfect. Okay. That's what I plan to do with this tank today. In the next few minutes, we're going to work on that. Okay, so having shown you that, I also just recently did a what's in the box of the Puma Scout Troop, right? The Puma Scout Troop has 4 vehicles in it and 234-1, 2, 3, or 4, and depending on how you want to build it, right? And so I'm looking through my Battlegroup rules, and I'm like, okay, let's check out this army list. Okay, let's check out this army list. So basically, I went through every army list I have, which I only have 5 books. I've got Canada's Crucible, which is actually a free DLC, a free PDF that you can download from their website. So I got the Canada's Crucible. I've got the Vakdam Rhine, Battle of the Bulge. I got Operation Market Garden. I got Beyond the Beaches and D-Day, right? Well, D-Day Beyond the Beaches, and then there's D-Day, I don't know what they call it. Hit the Beach? I don't know. D-Day something or other. Overlord D-Day, and then D-Day Beyond the Beaches. I went through all of those army lists, all the German ones, and I could not find in any of those army lists the Dash 4. The Dash 4, which is a 75 millimeter anti-tank gun on the scout car, is in no army list. Okay. So I don't know the point value for this vehicle. It might be in some other army list. It might be in Torch. It might be in Italy. It might be in Kursk. Or there's a bunch of those other army lists I don't have. So it might be in one of those. So if you play the game and you know, let me know. Put it in the comments. If you don't know, or if you don't know, then don't comment, because you don't know. I don't know either. But I couldn't find it anywhere. But I do have the late war vehicle cards from Battlegroup, and hey, they're right here. Okay, luckily they're sitting right next to me. Okay, so I grabbed the 3 late war card sets. One is for the British, right? That's this green one, which you would think would be the Americans, but no, that's British. Okay, and then you got this light olive is the Americans, and then this tan is the Germans. Right there, it does have the 234-4. It says 1945. Okay, hold on now. Okay, so I might be learning something here, right on camera with us. We're learning together. Okay, this one says 44-45, 44-45, 44-45. So all my scenario books are 44. Every one of them. They're all D-Day, Market Garden, Battle of the Bulge. That's all 44. If this is a 45, that might be in the Fall of the Reich scenario book. And then it might have this in there. But either way, I have the stats for it. I don't know what the points value. I don't know which army list it goes in or anything. I would assume it would be part of a recon battalion, but I don't know. But the point was, I got these 4 vehicles in the box, and on the box, it doesn't mention anything about this anti-tank gun. It doesn't even have a picture of it or anything. And in all my army lists, it doesn't have it as well. So I'm like, why even put that in there? Well, first of all, it's a Flames of War box set, and the rules I'm playing are Battlegroup, completely different, but it's from the same history, right? But I said, screw it. I'm going to build one anyway because I think it looks cool. That's the only reason. I know it's weird, but I said I have the capability to make it. I'm going to make it. So I made it. Then I looked at my army list and I said, okay, I need potentially 2-1s, 2-2s, and a -3. And then I kind of juggled it around a little bit and I said, well, I probably will never need a dash. Sometimes I'll need a -1 and a -3, or a -2 and a -3, or maybe a 1 and a 2 together, but never like 3 1s or 3 2s, right? So I was like, okay, cool. So I figured, okay, I'll just make one of these -3s, which is the short howitzer kind of dealio, right? And that is actually in a lot of the army lists. So I'm very good about that, okay? Put that together. And then I said, what am I going to do with these guys? Well, they give you enough turrets to do 4 Puma turrets, and they give you enough turrets to do 4 of the 20mm turrets. So I said, I'll just make 2 of each of those turrets, and I'll do exactly what I do with my Shermans, is that I'll have either a 75 or a 76, depending on what turret I put on there. So I said, I'll do the same thing here. So I can take the 20 off, and then we could have a, we can put a Puma turret on there. Hey, Rumpy. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Hey, I don't know if it's gone live yet or not, but I got the artillery one. I just finished it, editing it and stuff last night. I don't remember what time I set it to go live. I might have set it to go live today at 12. It's in the Fall of the Reich book. Okay. We're learning. That's kind of what I thought it was going to be, because I'm now seeing that it's only in 1945. I thought it came out about the same time as everything else. But I went ahead and magnetized these already. Let's go ahead and pull these apart. This one has a little bit less to grip because it's so flat. But I got that magnet down inside there. I got the magnet inside there. And it just snaps on. And now you got your turret. And I did the same thing with my Puma turrets. Got their little magnet inside there. And I just go boop. It just falls right into place. And now you got your Puma. You know, so if I need 2 Pumas, I just pop these turrets off. Drop the Puma turrets on. Now I've got 2 Pumas. So that's the name of that tune, right? Okay. Yeah, double turret. But to see, the magnets are strong enough that that's holding that in place. Okay. Okay. Well, I guess it's Rumpy, New Zealand. Hey, you probably play Battlegroup, so you're pretty much on top of it. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a couple of magnets to these guys here in just a few minutes. I ordered some magnets from HobbyLink, and I ordered these Mag Craft magnets. neodymium, iron, boron, rare earth magnets. I mismeasured, or I see, all these magnets come in fractions. They did not come in millimeters per se. They came in fractions, so I had to convert my fractions into millimeters to try to get a 5 millimeter, and I wound up with a 3.2 millimeter, right? And the 3.2 millimeter is too small, and that's the width, and the height was 1.6 millimeters, which is too large. So these are too small in diameter and too thick in thickness. So I can use them in other projects. That's not a problem. I'm not upset that I got these, because you get 100 for like $10. So they're like 10 cents each. So I'm not upset that I got these. I'm just disappointed that I couldn't use them. So I ordered another set of magnets. This time I ordered it from Amazon, but we'll talk about that here in just a second. K&M magnets. That's the magnets that are in that Sherman and those Pumas. Those are, no, the Sherman is not a K&M. Hold on. It might still be. I don't remember which magnet I used, but these are 1/8 inch, which is too small for, it's the same size as these basically, but they're not as deep. So these guys are the perfect height, but you need to order something bigger than 1/8. If I could get like a 3/16, that would be perfect. I think that would be perfect. So I went to the K&M, and I didn't really see exactly what I was looking for. I didn't look too hard, but these are the magnets that I've used in the past for other games like Red Sun, Blue Skies, or anything that I needed a base and a model to stick on the base. Or, you can always put them in arms of like your mechs or whatever, and you can pluck an arm off and just magnetize another arm. Same thing with your Warhammer 40K figures. If you got a sword in one hand, or a power grip in another hand, or a plasma pistol in another hand, you could magnetize his shoulders, and you could put whatever arms you want to put on there based on however many points you want to spend on this. So I really like the fact that the magnets allow you a little bit of versatility, like what I'm doing here. So I've always been using magnets. So I ordered these, and on Amazon, they actually have them by millimeter, and the Flames of War website says that hole is 5 millimeters and 1 millimeter deep, right? So I was like, okay, so I'll order 5 millimeter by 1 millimeter magnets. On the picture, it says that it's an N52, right? Which is exactly what I've always been using in the past, because it's N52's got a pretty good pull strength, right? I ordered it, and then after I ordered it, I wanted to double check. I think I came in like a day or two later, and I said, did I order the right ones? Did I order the right size? I was just second guessing myself. So I went in and I checked. I scrolled down to the, what do they call it? Not the description, the statistics of the product you're getting. And it said 5 by 1 millimeter. So I'm thinking, okay, perfect, great, 5 by 1 millimeter. But in the comments, I noticed this first comment, and it said, this is not an N52, it's an N32. And I was like, oh no, N32, that shouldn't be that big of a difference, right? That should be fairly negligible. But no, that's half the strength. It really is. So this Sherman turret doesn't have the same grip that these turrets have, because those are 52s and this is a 32. But luckily I'm using two magnets. I'm using one in the hull and one in the turret, not just like one in the hull and a piece of metal or something on the turret, because you could do that and then it would just fit on the magnet, you know, pull the actual metal. But because I've got two magnets, I'm actually getting the same pull. But on this, I'm getting double the pull because I'm using two N52s. So I'm getting like 100 pounds pull on this per square inch, and I'm only getting like 6 pounds of pull. But as you can see, it's still holding good. So I'm kind of mixed satisfied, mixed not satisfied, because I thought when I ordered it, these were N52s. And then afterwards, I saw a comment that said it was N32s. And the comment was replied to by the seller, and it says, yes, they are N32s. They were not 52s. Even though the picture has N52 in the comments. It doesn't, first of all, it's in Chinese. So I couldn't read anything. But right in the middle, in bold letters, it says N52. So maybe in Chinese it says this is not N52. I don't know. But it comes in a nice little tin, you know, with, and I don't know why, you know, it's just good packaging, I guess. But it still has pretty good grip, so I'm not too terrible. I'm not too terribly upset. But are these 5mm? They might be. I don't know. I haven't measured them. I don't have a way to really measure a 5mm exactly. But when I went to the turret, it didn't look like they fit down inside. It looks like they don't fit down inside. So I have a feeling that the coating, the nickel coating they put on top of the powdered magnet is causing it to be more than 5mm, or the paint is causing that to be less than 5mm. So what I'm going to have to do is just scrape inside there to make sure that that magnet can fit inside. That's the plan. That's the plan. And these are the ones I'm going to use. The tube, where'd it go? Yeah, these guys I use as kind of a guide because you got to make sure, I use them to like make sure I've got the polarity correct, because if you flip one of these magnets over and you try to push it on, it'll just fly off the turret because they're pushing against each other. So you got to make sure your polarities are attractive. And so what I do is I use these other magnets and I basically to test polarity. Okay, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, okay, we talked about planes. I got color here, and I think that's really all I want to talk about today is the painting, and then I'm gonna get to actually painting. All right, that's gone. Okay, just side note, just completely non-wargaming. Okay, so I drink the V8 Splash Fruit Medley. I drink some of the other V8 splashes. Basically, it's like a fruit drink, but with a health twist. You know, it's not 100% healthy, but it's better than drinking soda, you know, in my opinion. And like on here, it'll talk about antioxidants, C and B vitamins, vitamin C, Y, B, antioxidants. And then it has 25% less sugar than other drinks like this, but it only has 5% juice, right? Okay, so it's not a juice thing. It's more of a artificial flavoring, but I'm okay with that. A flavored juice beverage with 5% juice blend from concentrate with other natural flavors. We're not going to get into all that, but my point is, I drink this, it goes into my body, right? And I can feel it in my mouth, like it's leaving a slight residue. And then I look at this plastic bottle, and there's like this red, pinkish residue all along the bottom of that thing. And that's inside my body. I'm turning my insides pink. Oh, wait, they already are. Okay, hold on. Okay. Last thing before I get to magnetizing these bad boys and then painting these. Those of you that have been following my channel notice that I have a new series out, basically called What's in the Box, right? And I take models out and I'll paint them, not paint them, back up. I'll review them and I'll do a close-up view of the model so you can see the actual details and, you know, like what you're actually getting from the model and stuff like that. Now, this is all before painted. This is not a painted version of it or anything. This is just opening a box fresh, pulling the products out, looking at what you get, and comparing it to what they say you get. Because sometimes, just like this Dash 4, the box did not say there was a Dash 4 parts in there. It didn't even make any mention to the Dash 4. It said there was parts to make 1, 2, and 3, not 4. So when I did the open boxing, or not the open boxing, but the What's in the Box series, when I opened it up and I saw that it had parts for the 4, that's why I do those videos, so that you as a consumer or potential buyer will know exactly what you're getting in these boxes. Okay, so I just recently became a partner with, I don't know if you want to call it a partner. That's too strong of a word. Maybe a affiliate. Affiliate sounds good. I'm an affiliate of the Plastic Soldier Company, right? So, I put an order in with Plastic Soldier Company to get product in my store, right? And I found myself thinking in my head, when I'm ordering, I was thinking I had three agendas, really. Technically, I had 3 agendas. My first agenda was, am I going to be able to sell this? I mean, if you're running a store, that should be your first agenda. Am I going to be able to, if I buy this, am I going to sell it for a profit and make some money? Right? Okay. If not, then I'm not going to order it. Okay, so I said, so that was my first criteria. If I order this, am I going to be able to sell it? The second criteria, which I found myself, this was a new feeling for me. My second criteria was, if I order this, am I going to be able to do a What's in the Box? Because I've already done some What's in the Boxes with a bunch of other Plastic Soldier Company products. So I don't want to reorder the same ones and do What's in the Box videos for a product that I've already done. But the will it sell part was the priority, right? So I said, will I be able to sell it? Yes. Will I be able to do a What's in the Box on that? Probably not, because I've already done it. Okay, let's order it anyway, because I'm going to make some money. Okay, so that was those are the 2 main motivators for what I ordered. And then I said to myself, well, since I'm placing an order, let's see if there's anything that I personally need. I need this, I need that, I need this. So I ordered some stuff for me personally. So basically, I had 3 check boxes per item. I said, could I use this? Yes. Could I use this? Could I sell it? Yeah, let's order 2 of them. You know, that kind of stuff. And I even reordered the rule book for Battlegroup because I already have the rule book, but I figured if I ordered it, I could sell it. Same thing with the Meg, the Mortimet Glorium. I really like those rules. I like the way they're laid out, and I like the way they're written. They're written with a flavor of comedy or lighthearted. They're lighthearted, and I like rules like that. The Battlegroup rules are written with lightheartedness. I feel like I can, these authors of these 2 rule sets speak to me. They speak, in plain language. They're not like old 1970s Avalon Hill Rule 1.3.1. Yes. Rule 1.3.2. Only if you're on the side. And Avalon Hill rules from the day were written by a lawyer, right? And they became very easy to adjudicate on a dispute on the table because they were written in specific details, where that's not fun. I mean, they were fun, don't get me wrong. Squad leader, Napoleon's battles, Tactics 2, Blitzkrieg, Fall of the Reich, Stalingrad, all those board games that I played were really good. And then that's why I got into Napoleon's battles, because I loved Avalon Hill, and then they made, even though Napoleon's battles, GDW? Wait, hold on. That was Avalon Hill, right? GDW. I don't remember. It was Avalon Hill, right? It was a bookcase game. Think. Yeah, it was Avalon Hill. It was Avalon Hill because I still have the general on the wall over there with all the Quatre Bras rules. Okay. I call myself a partner, but really I'm just a retailer, a buyer, so I bought a bunch of plastic soldier stuff, and it's in pounds, right? Because they're English. And I didn't realize. I mean, I knew, but I didn't fully grasp what I was doing. I was like, I want one of these, I want one of these, give me it all, double everything. And then I got the bill. I'm like, holy crap, what did I do? Okay. But it's already paid. Everything's good. But it was a big hit, right? So, but luckily, I'm going to get a bunch of that stuff in. Should be coming in any day now. I don't know when it's going to come in, a couple of weeks. But I'm really looking forward to it. Now, as a note, I also ordered some 1/72nd scale tanks as well, and some infantry, some 1/72nd scale infantry from a bunch of different manufacturers, because I personally want to take a look at the quality difference between manufacturers. Hey, Benjamin, thanks. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate that. And where are you at if it's evening? Because it is noon. It's lunchtime right here. But either way, because I personally love 1/72nd. I really do. But I don't like 1/72nd on a... I think I talked about this in one of my previous videos. I don't like 1/72nd on a grand scale, right? So like when I played Command Decision back in the 90s? Yeah, I guess it was the 90s. Dang, 91 to 95 was my big Command Decision years. Yeah, I played Command Decision in 172nd at Denmark. Oh my gosh. Hey, well, welcome. Appreciate you, man. Yeah. Well, good evening. You're probably having like dinner by now, right? Okay, so 172nd is really good because like the airplanes and like the tanks and the infantry, you can find pretty much everything in 172nd. And it's cheaper per man for 172nd than 28 millimeter or even 15 millimeter. I think it's pretty much in the middle. Well, this is the most expensive per man because you're looking at $1 a figure approximately. 15 millimeter, you're looking at about 50 cents a figure. And with 172nd, I think you're spending about 25 cents a figure. Pretty close to that. So 172nd is the most cost effective, but it's not the most space effective. If you're limited on your playing space, you got to go smaller. But this is the point I'm trying to get to. If you're playing a small game like a bolt action game, play it in 172nd. Right? You don't have to necessarily play it in 28 millimeter. Don't get me wrong, 28 millimeter figures are, every figure is its own model and it's got a ton of details on it, and it's not a bad scale for man to man. It's really a good scale for man to man, and the game is awesome. And I like black powder. I like bolt action a lot, and I like this figure scale a lot. But if you're just looking for cheapness and availability and a variety of models, 172nd. Because just using this as an example, if you buy 28 millimeter models and you stick with 28 millimeter models, and let's say you want to do a specific unit, right? Warlord might have plastics in that line. They might have a metal squad in that line. Okay, so you're getting about 30 different models, right? For that unit type. Which is great, because that's probably all you'll ever need. You don't need 150 Rangers. Who needs 150 Rangers? Apparently this guy. But you'll get those 30 and you'll play and you'll have a good time. But if you play in 172nd, you can get 4 30-figure boxes for the same price that you bought the one 30-figure box from Warlord. And you can find 4 different companies, 4 different manufacturers, like Pegasus, Italeri, Revell, Aerofix, Heller, Apex, Zvezda, Hat. Okay, I know there's more. I'm going through them in my head. But either way, there's probably about 8 to 10 different manufacturers that make that figure. And when you are trying to make a decision, you want to know which box that you want to get to represent your platoon. But if you want to play 2 platoons or 3 platoons, you could technically buy 3 different boxes, or even 4 different boxes for the same price as a 28mm model. And then you can pick and choose which figure from each box that you want to put in your squad. Because this box might have all the MG42s in the prone position. This box might have all the MG42s in a running position. And this box might have all the MG42s in a slung position. Or this box might have the MG42 on a bipod or a tripod or whatever, right? So you could, and this guy might have a good loader where, you might get an MG42 in the prone, but his loader looks like he's having a seizure. And then over here, you got this MG42 loader who looks like he's actually paying attention to what he's doing. So you might take this box MG42 and this box loader and put them on your table. So you tend to get not variety per se, but it is variety, but you get more options, right? You get like just using the American paratroopers from Warlord, right? Just using them as an example. I think I got a sprue up there. In every sprue, you get a guy standing, a guy running, a guy leaning back, you get a guy kneeling, you get a guy prone, and you get another guy, I don't remember, probably another guy walking or something. Those are the 6 guys you get. You get those 6 on every sprue, period. No variation. So if you want your paratroopers, they're all going to be in the same pose. Kind of like these Rangers. They're all pretty much, he put these together. I did not put these together. These were assembled by my client. He did a really good job. There's a couple of things that I would have done differently. That's we all have our own idiosyncrasies. A benefit of larger scales, though, is the option of making different poses compared to smaller scale minis that usually come assembled. Yes, yeah, I was getting to that. Thank you. Yeah, you're exactly right, Benjamin. But I'm going to say that is, it goes both ways. That's an advantage and a disadvantage. My point was, like, this guy assembled these, and he assembled them the way he wanted them, right? He put their arms in their poses. He put the binoculars here or down low. This guy has his arm on a sling or not. There's a guy over here holding a grease gun, or another guy over there has got a Thompson. And yeah, so you guys got all these, there's options, because every single one of these guys is a little model kit you have to put together. First of all, that's fun. Assembling these models that's part of the hobby. That's fun. But there are some things about these models that are I don't want to badmouth the guy. I'm not badmouthing him. He did a really good job. He did a much better job than I probably would have. But when I go through and I start painting these, things stand out to me. Like this one guy has his hand down low, and the gun is not even in his hand. It's outside his fingers, right? I think that was just a simple mistake. And I've considered breaking it off and re-gluing it, but then I thought I might break his fingers off. I'm not going to mess with it. I'm just going to go with it. There's another guy who's got his arm glued on, but it's glued on like not to his shoulder, but to his rib cage, right? It's too low. And I think that comes from the modeling manufacturer. They make certain arms and hands that are supposed to go with weapons, but when you put them on the torsos, they don't line up just perfectly, and sometimes you get these giant gaps in the back of the shoulders, or you get the arm drooping down too low, or whatever, right? Once they're all painted, like this guy just stands out. The back of that arm and his shoulder don't match. The mold of the torso stops, and then there's like this flat part where an arm is supposed to be, but the arm is moved forward enough where you see that flat part. Could I have filled it up with putty or smoothed it out with, texture paste or something like that? Absolutely, you can. But I'm just saying that's just an extra step. But when you're using the 1/72nd scale guys, they usually come on a sprue, in a pose, everything's assembled, the guns are in their hands, there's no changing them, right? But that's a lie. I could snip arms and I could maneuver them. Like Pegasus, they almost all come unassembled, where you got to glue the arms and stuff like that on the 1/72nd guys. Caesar is that way too. Maybe not Caesar, maybe it's Pegasus. But there are some manufacturers where you got to assemble them. And that's another reason why I want to do these what's in the boxes, so that I can show people what they're getting, right? And to help you make a decision. Scratch building. Okay, I'm getting off on a tangent. I wanted to actually do some magnets today. But scratch building a 28 millimeter building is just as easy, if not easier, than scratch building a 1/72nd scale model. Because if your model is smaller and smaller and smaller, it becomes, I guess, more fiddly and harder to get the parts in the right place and stuff. But on the flip side, if you're a scale modeler, you've been modeling for years, there are millions of 1/72nd scale accessories that you could put on those buildings. You just got to, you just shop for them. There are so many companies out there that make, for model railroading or dioramas or anything, because dioramas are 1/72nd, 1/32nd, 1/48, not 1/56, and that's what these guys are. So all your buildings are either scratch built or bespoke, like you bought that building. Same thing with 15 millimeter. 15 millimeter is the same way as 28. You have to find, you have to buy models that are specifically built for 1/100 scale, or scratch build it. You're not going to find like model railroading stuff that's going to really work for you. I mean, there is a scale called TT, tabletop, which, if you can find tabletop scale, it's 1/120, I think. 1/1. It might be 1/100 or 1/110. I don't remember, but TT is like super close to 15 millimeter. Yeah, and so that's okay. What's in the box? So that's why I'm doing these what's in the boxes. And that what's in the box, I didn't mean to go on a tangent on what's in the box. It's just that has painting these Shermans, and I don't know if you can see it on camera. I didn't do this on purpose, but can you see a difference in the OD color? I can. I like this color. I like the brownish, kind of more weathered look. I like the brown OD. I've used Tester's OD so long, and I think that's what this one is. It comes out like super dark green, which is good. It's good. But once I painted this with, I don't remember what I painted it with. And that's why I'm getting ready to go to this next topic. I've come to my own decision that I'm going to get a bunch of spray paints, rattle cans, a bunch of them from a bunch of different manufacturers, and I'm going to test every one of them, maybe on a whiteboard. I'm just going to get a whiteboard or a board and spray it white first. But I'm going to get a whiteboard, and then I'm going to go spray with this color, spray with this color, spray with this color, and this color, and just put a dab on all of it, and then use a marker or whatever to mark which can is which, and then review it on camera and let you see the actual difference. It's really for me, but let you see the difference in the shade of the olive drab and which one you personally would like better, because you might like this color better than this color. That's personal preference. I personally like this color better than this one. This can right here, $4.728. Yep, this is olive drab. This is a Model Master olive drab. This is a Tamiya olive drab. It's kind of like the difference in that, even though that is even way lighter than that. It's almost non-comparable. This is AK olive drab. We got a third color. I have a Vallejo olive drab around here somewhere. Yep, right there. Vallejo olive drab. So far, I've hit 4 different paints, and there's 4 different colors. These two are probably the closest. Now, I understand that AK specifically sells their paints in 3s. I understand that. They have the base coat, they have the highlight coat, and they have the base coat, the highlight, and the shading, right? So I understand, but the base coat is the one I'm talking about, the one that's in the middle, not the shading, not the highlighting, because I'll do that with other washes or dry brushing or whatever. So I'm looking for, and it's a brand new formula. Yay. Okay. This one out of these 3, or I should say this one out of these, I like the best. I've been using the Vallejo olive drab for a long time, but it doesn't have that brown look to it. It doesn't feel like it's brown violet. It feels like it's like a dark green, right? Like a Russian green or something. So that, the brush painting and the spray painting of those tanks prompted me to do this olive drab comparative test. Here we go. These are the ones I'm testing. Let me put this in my hot little pocket here. Okay, so I got some Humbrol, right? I heard Humbrol's really good. Craft DIY modeling paint. Great. The only caveat I have on this Humbrol is that it doesn't say olive drab. It says light olive. So just take that with a grain of salt. This is light olive, right? Okay, but the rest of these are all olive drab. So we jump into this Krylon, right? Camouflage olive. It doesn't say olive drab, but you can read between the lines. It's super dark. So this reminds me of my Vallejo olive drab. And these, I've been using these kind of together. Now you can see that this has got a little bit of a brown, if that's how it comes out of the can. But that's the one I've been using for years and years. Okay, I've got this Magic camouflage, olive drab green, right? Okay, so it's olive drab. This is, I think I've used this. Yep. This might actually be that color because I used this when I was painting my tanks, I remember. And see how light that is? I like that. I like the lightness, if that is what it comes out as. But then there's this. There's the Hunter's Specialty Olive Drab. Never used this can, never used it before, don't know what quality of anything it is, but I can say that if that is $15 nowadays with the limited supply and hard to get paint, that's like $15, right? It's hard to find. This was $5. Okay, so we're going to see how good that is. Of course, we're going to use Vallejo US olive drab, as if there's maybe different countries have different olive drabs. I think I used this on one of those tanks as well on my collection. I don't remember if that's the one I went with or not, but you can see it seems to be a little more like that. And so I don't know if this is just old and it's gotten green over the or gotten dark over time. Yeah, so I don't know. Okay, and then there's this one, which I have not used, olive drab from AK. I got this one because I started to fall in love with this AK olive drab. Because I fell in love with that olive drab, I said, let's go ahead and get this olive drab. I don't want to break anything. There we go. That has a really good like, that's a lot of brown, right? Comparatively. So maybe that will be more like that. I don't know. See, and that's part of the issue is I don't know. So we're gonna try a lot of different colors to see what's up. Here we go. Testers. I think this is the one that I'm going to like the best, but I'm not sure. We don't know. This light olive might not even be in contention. Now, just looking at these two on camera, you can see how much more brown this has compared to that. These two are very similar, right? That one is a lot more brown. And finally, Tamiya. With that olive drab, I thought this would be more like that, and it is. It's really dark green compared to the dark green bottle paint. This is called Olive Drab 2. So they must have more than one olive drab. So I'm going to take and spray all 8 of these, and we're going to see which one is the one I'm going to stick with on future projects. I hope it's this one because it's so cheap. You know, a little bit of guilty right there. But I like Vallejo paint because it goes on with one coat and it gets into all the cracks with one spray. Vallejo has the best coverage that I've used. It's better than Krylon or Rust-Oleum when it comes to coverage. Color-wise, I don't know yet. We're going to look at the colors. This one, you know, it's a hunter's camouflage, so it'll be all right. I've never used the Tamiya spray olive drab. I've used this spray olive drab in the past, and I liked it. The Humbrol light olive, the tape looks dark, so we'll see. And then the AK olive drab there looks different than there, right? So, and that looks different than that. Okay, this pin or this swatch looks very close to that. I'm happy with that. But that looks way different. That almost looks like an English. No, it looks less than an English. It looks maybe like a pale brown. Okay, we'll have to see. So maybe tonight, I'll do, all I'm really doing is just getting a whiteboard, spraying, and then letting it dry, and then comparing it. That's really all I'm doing. I thought about getting some like deuce and a half trucks or whatever that I still need to paint, and then taking my I have 4 deuce and a halves, take my 4 favorites, and then spray those 4 favorites, let them dry, and then I want to wash them. I want to put this dark green wash heavily thinned out. I'm going to use my my flow aid that I have to thin it out and wash. And that's what these are. These are olive drab spray with the green wash. And that green wash on this olive drab color really brought out all the details. And that's why I kind of like, okay, that was gone back later with the black wash, but I think it really brought out, like, specifically around the turret ring and machine gun and stuff like that. I think it really did a good job with the green wash. So this also, whoa, what happened? He wanted to come along. Okay, I also did the green wash on this guy, and it brought out a lot of the details as well. That's a brown wash. Specifically, you know, the gear and stuff like that on the back panel. So I think this is a gasoline gas engine deck, and this is the diesel. Did I learn that correctly? Because I was watching a tank museum tour the other day, and the guy mentioned, he looked on the back of the Sherman and he said, oh, look, it's a diesel. And the only thing he could really tell was it had the multiple caps and it had the grill. So I don't know. I'm not a mechanic, and that doesn't really affect me. Okay, so that's a project that I plan in the near future. So if you're interested in seeing the difference between those paints, stay tuned to the channel. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you get notified, and then make sure you hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload a new vehicle. New vehicle, new video. I just finished the artillery chapter for Battlegroup. I uploaded it. It's probably live right now if you want to see that. It's a long one. That video I filmed, it took me about 2 hours of video. 2 hours of that camera running, right? And then I had to take all of the nonsense that I spoke, because I spoke a lot of nonsense, putting my own 2 cents in and stuff like that. I had to go back and I looked at the video and I said, what, 2 hours? Nobody's going to watch a 2-hour video about me talking about artillery. So I went through and I tried to edit out all the extra stuff and stuck to pretty much just the rules. And it still is over an hour. Even with me editing out gaps and trying to minimize it as much as possible, it's still an hour's worth of video. And reading it the first 3 or 4 times, I didn't grasp it. I'm telling you, it was, hey, our mailman's here. But the concept, not the concept, the concept I get, the execution of the rules was a little beyond my grasp. I was like, what the hell? What? Do what? Why do this? How to do that? And it took me a minute, and then I said, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to do this video, and I'm going to go piece by piece, and I'm going to explain it, and I'm going to try to point it out on the table with some figures, and hopefully I can go back and watch myself 100 times until I figure it out. Well, it only took once, because I guess I'm a visual learner. I guess by actually putting it on the table and talking you through it like a teacher, I'm teaching you how to do the artillery. It, as a byproduct, I taught myself. So I now can pretty much tell you how to do the artillery without looking in the rules. It's really that easy. But for some reason, I was like, man, artillery? What? How, huh? You know, how do you do this? And here, I'll give you a real quick summary of the artillery. You have a spotter on the table. You give him an order, like from your order pool, because you have so many orders per turn. You give him an order. He calls for fire. They call it something different, which I wish they used more militaristic terms, but they kind of generalized it, and that's what was throwing me off. You have to attempt priority, which they could have called that. They could have called it something different, but I'm okay with them calling it priority. But if you're calling for stuff that's on the table or on your army list, you don't have to roll for priority, right? You only have to roll for priority if it's part of your army list, but from a specific section called additional, right? So if it's not additional, if it's actually part of your battle group, you can skip that part. The scenario I'm planning on running, there's no additional, I don't think. Hold on, maybe there is. Actually, maybe there is. But either way, you skip that part, you go to call for fire. That's not what they call it. They call it communications. Okay, so the spotter rolls to see if he can communicate, and all it is a D6 roll, 3 or better. There could be some modifiers. Probably not. But there could be some modifiers. 3 or better. If you succeed, you have successfully communicated with your artillery pieces that are either off table or on table. Your choice. Whatever. You pick. Right? Okay. So he makes that one communications roll. Then you go to the next half of it, which is super simple. The first part, I was like getting all confused. What's priority? What's call for fire? Why am I doing both of these tasks? All that stuff. It's really only one roll. It's really as simple as this. Issue your spotter an order. Roll a d6. If you get a 3 or better, it succeeds. Done. That's it. That's it. That's it in its entirety, right? But then there's some minors. Once you get your communications roll succeed, you just place a spotter round anywhere on the table. It says 70 inches, and within line of sight. But that's pretty much everything on the table. Maybe not. Maybe there's bocage in the way, which there's going to be bocage in my scenario. So, but either way, you just place the spotter round. The observer is done. Now, you go to what guns you want to assign to that mission. I want to assign 2 mortars. I want to assign 3 105s, a 155, whatever. You want to assign all of it? That's fine. Give every one of those units, tubes, guns, an order, right? So if you have 5 different guns you want to fire on that fire mission, you just give them all orders. So far, so good. Just like shooting, if you give a unit an order to shoot, it shoots twice. We already talked about that. So you take all your gun barrels, which you've got 10 of them now, or 5 barrels, because you want with a 155, 2 105s, and 2 mortars. So you give them all 2 shots, so that's 10 dice. Because the mortars and the 155s and the 105s are all different damage values, you probably need to separate those into different colored dice. I didn't really mention that in the video, but that's just me interpolating into it. But let's just say you got 4 mortars, and that's all you're going to fire. 4 mortars times 2, 8 dice. You can put all 8 dice in your hand, and you can roll them. Before you do that, you got to find out where that spotting round lands. This has no bearing on skill or experience or anything. You just roll a d6. If you get a 1, it's wild. If you get 2 to 5, it's on target. And then if you get like a 6, it's super close. So a 1 is 4 dice of deviation. 2 through 5 is 2 dice of deviation. And a 6 is 1 die of deviation. So you're always going to deviate 1 die at the best. Okay? You roll a directional die that points. I use a d10. It gives me a direction that I'm going to point. So I roll a d10 for direction. You find out it's going to go in this direction. You roll your 2 dice for deviation distance. You move the spotter round to the new location. That is where the spotter round lands. So the FO, the player, the commander, can make a decision. Am I going to call for fire or not? Right? Because if it deviates way away from the troops you're trying to hit, you might say, whoop, okay, it's way off target. Let's not bother. But if it's close and you say, it's close enough, let's do it. Let's call for fire. Now the spotter is finished. You go over to the guns. You give them each an order. Now you got your 8 dice and you roll. And what you're rolling for is to see how many hits and how many pins you get. That's all you can get. Well, you can get a miss as well. So if you roll a 1, that die does no effect. Take it off the table. If you roll a 6, it's a hit. If you roll a 2 through 5, it's a pin. So far, easy. I've memorized these rules after one night. Okay. Once you figure out how many hits you have and how many pins you have, now I'll allocate them to the troops. You don't get to pick and choose. You take your hits and you allocate it to the closest unit to the spotter round. Boop. You take the next one and go to the next closest unit. Boop. And you just keep doing that until you get them all. If you get enough dice to cover everybody on the table, you go back and put the next one on the closest unit again. So he might get 2 hits. Then you do the same thing with pins. You allocate them, starting from the closest unit, going out. So the closest guy might get pins and hits. It's that simple. So now, once you get the pins and hits, you figure out how many hits you do. I think it would be a lot easier and maybe faster if I did the pins first, but the rules say do the hits first. Okay, no problem. Now you take a hit and it's like getting a direct hit with HE. So an HE round has a direct hit value of a number / another number. That first number is how many potential hits you get from that one shell. And the second number is the target number that you need to roll or better to successfully hit. So a medium mortar in this case rolls 4/4. So you're rolling 4 dice for every hit. So like if that first infantry stand has a hit on it, you roll 4 dice looking for 4s or better, and that's how many hits you get. Okay, so let's just say he gets 2 hits. Now the player that controls the target rolls saving throws. Infantry, depending on where they're at, their saving throw might change. But let's say in the open, they need 6s or better. Let's say they fail, so 2 of those guys die. Done. If it's a fighting vehicle, now you're using the armor piercing value of that HE shell against the side armor, which I guess is the same as the top armor of the tank. You have front, side and top, and rear. Okay, so the side armor value, and you roll for armor penetration and see what happens. Then you go for pins. It's done the same way. You just go to the suppression table, infantry under an HE shell. How many pins, does he get pinned or does he not get pinned? It doesn't matter about how many times he has to roll once per hit from the mortars, and you roll, and he gets his armor saves. If he saves, he's not pinned. If he doesn't save, he's pinned. If you roll 1 on a pin test, that also causes a casualty. Okay. Armor, you do the same thing. There's a target number to hit an armor. If you roll it, he's pinned. Armor doesn't get a saving throw versus pin in the open. Okay, so once you got those done, you're done. It was that simple. But it is a long, complicated process, but it wasn't hard to grasp once I did the video. And that's what I did. That's what I just uploaded, the artillery. It's like an hour long, but it goes into all the details, all the nuance, all the like wire teams, dispatch teams, all that other stuff too. Okay. I expect to do my next video, maybe in the next couple of days, where it's going to be morale and battle rating. Morale is super fast. It's like half a page, and battle rating is like 1 page, and it should be super simple. So that's going to be one video. And then the video after that, we're going to dig deep into special abilities, because every unit type out there has a special ability, which I think it saved the company Inc. or because if 2 units have the same capabilities, it's easier to say this one has capability A and this one has capability A, and then somewhere else in the rules say capability A means this. Instead of saying this unit can do all of this and this unit can do all of this, it was easier just to say special ability. And that's what it is. Like the spotter rule, the communications rule, the Bren team rule. There's a bunch of different rules that apply to different units. But you could easily just put that special rule with the unit, but it would have made the army lists twice as big. Multiple pages and stuff like that, where it was easier just to say, this spotter has the spotter rule. It was easier. So we'll have to go through all the special rules. That's another video because that's multiple pages. And then we'll pretty much be pretty closely done with the basic rules, and then it goes into the advanced rules and then rules from different scenario books. But I think I'm chugging along with that boot camp pretty nicely. Okay, I need to get something to drink. My mouth is parched. I'll be right back. right, and back. Got me a chaotic monster. Okay. Okay, magnets first. And that's probably all we're going to have time for today. You're not going to get to watch me paint these, which, that's too bad. Okay, let's put my modeling glasses on. Okay, here we go. Got a little file right here. I'm trying to clean paint from inside this little, what would you call that? A recessed hole, I guess. So that when I put the magnet in, it'll just fit down inside that hole without worrying about rubbing the sides. Because right now it's too small, too large. The 5mm magnet, which they recommend, is probably officially not 5mm. Hey, Rumpy, you're from New Zealand. I didn't really put two and two together. Battlefront's from New Zealand. I'm going to have to say Battlefront is a quality company. They, now, I'm not talking about prices. I'm not talking about shipping charges or anything like that. But I am talking about the product that they put out. It's well packaged. The scale is great. The models go together great. They have good detail on them. I'm impressed with quality. Not cost. Even though the cost isn't too bad. Okay. Now, I want to put it in with the same polarity as the one I've already got in here. Oh, that's opposite polarity. It's pushing against me. But when I turn it over, boop, nice. Okay, so that is the way of the world. That's the way I'm going to put this magnet down inside that hole. Okay, that looks good. I'm using Gorilla Glue gel. You can use whatever whatever glue you want. I think the Battlefront website recommends E6000. Also, they recommend Gorilla Glue. Okay, so I use the magnets to kind of apply a little bit of pressure. Okay, that didn't want to go in very good. I probably should have cut a little more. When I tested it, I thought it went in there nice and neat, but I guess not. And I don't want to break the model by pushing so hard that it snaps the top of the hull. Oh wow, you can see the difference in color here. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but it's not in perfectly level. It's got like a little bit of a lip right there. But the turret still goes on. There's enough of a gap between this magnet and that magnet. Snaps right on, look at that. Okay. That'll work. Now, this first turret that I made had the peg in it. I had to actually cut the peg out, and I had to use my knife to dig a hole deep enough for the magnet to go into. Like this one, I had to actually break that peg off because I'm retrofitting basically. So let's go ahead and break that peg off. And then see if yep, I expected that. That's what happened the last time. Busted the peg off. And so then I came in and I just trimmed what I could flat. There we go. I'm just going through the process that I did on that last turret so that you could see all the effort that I went through for you guys. Yeah, I basically created a pilot hole with my pin vise. Okay, we'll get back to this one. We'll get back to that one. I just want to make sure I get one of these guys done. Okay, when you look at the bottom of this, that's where that hole there is where the second hole, I don't know if you can see the second hole, but there's a large rim, then there's a second hole. That second hole is where the peg piece would glue down inside of. But it's also where the magnet can fit down inside of. Yeah, that hole's not big enough. These 5mm magnets are either just over 5mm or that hole is just under 5mm. It's one or the other. So I went to my Black & Decker and I dug out a drill bit. I think it's that one. It's the one I used last night, I think. I don't remember. Got some plaster in it. Obviously, I've been doing some work somewhere else. Okay, and I basically took the back side of the drill bit, and I said, yeah, that's just a little bit, it's a hair bit bigger than that magnet, so that's actually okay. Then I went and I went into the hole. You gotta get a pilot hole. The pilot hole, whoa, that went all the way through. Okay. The pilot hole is really just to allow this tip to dig into the plastic. And then I'm using it like a pin vise. I'm just spinning it. But I don't have to go very deep because all I'm doing is really making a spot open for this. Which I think I just did. So clean it out. It's a little, got a few pieces of loose plastic in there. There we go. Almost. I could feel it rubbing the sides. That's what she said. I don't want to go all the way through because then there would be nothing for the magnet to rest against. Okay, so let's make sure I got my polarity right. Okay, that's definitely right. Oh yeah, that fits in pretty good. Go back to my gel, my gelatin. Okay. What do I do? Count to 10? Something like that. But I was noticing that 10 is not long enough. Okay, there's 2 magnets in there right now. Okay, it's actually went in there really well. So we're going to let that go in there and dry just a little bit before I start putting it on the turret because it'll pull it out of the hole. So I want to let that dry just for a bit. And then I already got the pilot hole on this one. Now I set that magnet off to the side because it had a little bit of super glue on it from this turret. So I'm going to let that glue dry instead of sticking it back on here and then having it stick to another magnet. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. So now I'm going in and I'm digging that out. Digging that peg out of there. This would be best to be done before you paint the model, not after. But I didn't decide to do magnets until after I'd already finished painting these guys. I think it's just smarter to do magnets. It makes it easier to swap out the turrets. It makes the turret stay in place better. The pegs are okay, but they're not. The pegs are okay in a pinch. And the magnet, when you put it on the turret or you put it in the hull or the turret, it doesn't have to be centered. For those of you that are thinking, well, you got to make it exactly center. You don't. And the reason why is because even if it's not centered, the lip on the turret and the lip on the, I keep pointing at that as the turret, but the lip on the hull and the indent of the turret is what keeps the turret centered on your model. Your favorite super glue. All right. You're talking about the gel? Or you talk? I also have the liquid, which XL is all I could find. Not that I don't mind XL. I mean, it's just you get more in a tub. But sometimes my super glue caps will dry and dry closed, and it's hard to open, or what I need is a pin vise for a you know what? I bet you I could put that in there. Not gonna do it. I don't need a big handle. I'm not a pussy. Okay, before I leave you guys, I'm going to run outside to see if I got any boxes. Because I am expecting that Plastic Soldier Company box to come in soon. They printed a tracking number. I think it's UPS. Yeah, it's UPS. I don't even think it's USPS. But it might be. Okay, this guy is a pain in my rear end. That peg, I must have glued it in there with some kind of glue. because it doesn't want to come out. Okay. I mean, I'm digging a hole. And I'm dropping OD plastic all over the carpet. Not carpet, it's actually my plastic chair thing. Okay, okay, this side looks good, but the left side doesn't. So I'm trying to focus cutting on the left side of the turret more than the right side. Trying to center my hole. Like I said, you don't have to center it. It's not that big of a deal. But it has like an angle. That's the centering I'm talking about. Okay, a little bit more, and I think I'll be good to drop a magnet in there. One more. Oh, a little bit of a bite. That's a good sign. Okay. I think that hole is deep enough. We're not gluing anything. I'm just going to stick it in. Stick it in, stick it in. That looks like it goes in deep enough. Okay. Okay, trying to clear the ledge here. Clear the ledge so that the turret will sit on the tank properly. Okay, it will. Let's get that magnet in there. Check polarity. Looks like that's the polarity. Let's get some glue. This is the first super glue that I've ever used that said shake it before use. To mix it, basically. Okay. And what does it say? With cap on product, shake product, then turn upside down and tap on hard surface to shake gel into bottle nozzle. What the hell? Okay. Right, so that's the end that I need to put in here. I mean, I could just go boop, but no, I'm not going to do that. Okay, that looks good. Give it a 10 count. I'm going to give it a little more. Maybe a little more. Should have been about 30 seconds. Let's go ahead. Slide these off. No, what just happened? You bitch. Okay. Oh, The magnets are, okay, they're stronger than I thought they were. Okay, I've got it in position, but I got to get that one magnet off. Trying to level it off on the inside of that hole. That's pretty good. We're going to let that dry there. Okay, this is clean. We're going to put that guy back in there. All right, now before we close out the video, I'm going to run outside and see if we got a box or anything. Yummy. All right, be right back. 2 seconds. Okay, maybe 2 minutes. Give me a second. All right, I did get something. Got someone trying to sell me a Visa card. No, I don't know if I want to do that. But I got this from Sinclair Games. What did I order from Sinclair Games? Magnets? No, I don't know. Looks like a box of something. Let's check it out. Or not. I need a sharper knife. That's what I need. Too much bubble wrap. So it's probably like a big package like this, right? And there's like this little bitty box inside. This might be a miniature box. What did I order recently? I ordered some SS. But not from Sinclair, I don't think. I ordered some... I think I ordered some Flames of War stuff. But I should have like these big orders, not this like one box. I don't know why this is just one box. I ordered a multimeter. That wouldn't have came from Sinclair. Try. Okay, let's see what the invoice says. SS. Okay. I did get my SS. You probably saw me do an open box. Not an open box. I keep saying open box because that's what people on the that's what the hip crowd calls it. No, I call it a what's in the box. That's my take on a open boxing. The Forged in Battle. Yeah, I did some Forged in Battle SS Platoon, and they looked like early war, and I don't want early war personally. I mean, for the store or to paint up for sale, of course. Especially those guys doing like the Russian campaign and stuff like that, they'll probably need them. But I don't do Russians. And I don't do like early French either. I don't do like 1940. So 2 SS. That's why it looked like it was one big box when it wasn't. It was 2 small boxes. SS. We're going to do an open box, or what's in the box for these guys. They say that they have MG42 teams and a Panzerschreck team, which I don't really need. I've got 100 million Panzerschrecks. 4 figure bases. That's what it looks like. Commanders on a 3 figure base. Yeah. Because I need two SS Grenadier platoons for my scenarios. And here they are. Speaking of which, I ordered some AK. After using this one paint, I've kind of started to like the AK paint. I have A and K like texture paste, and I like that too. But the OD I kind of like, you know, for painting figures. So I went ahead and ordered a couple of paint sets from AK. One of their SS paints, I think. Paint sets. I think it's the P dot camo one. And I think I might have ordered the Splinter Stripes camo pattern one too. But either way, I'm going to get like these 2 or 3 sets of AK paints. And I'm waiting for those before I jump on these figures, because I want to use those paints exclusively to see how they turn out, right? And I think they're going to be good. I like the AK texture, the consistency when I put it in my palette, and I like the way it goes on the miniatures. 15 millimeters, really. I haven't put them on these 28s yet, but when I do, I'll experiment with that as well. But knowing that I was going to be getting some SS in, and I got the Forged in Battle ones in first, but knowing that I was going to get these SS in, I went ahead and committed to some AK paint sets. And so I got them coming in. I knew I already had most of the colors already with Vallejo, but there were a couple of colors that I didn't have. And instead of just ordering those individual colors, I decided why not just get the whole paint set. Can always use SS paint for other things as well. Okay, so yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming out and hanging out with me for a while. Normally we go on from about 11 to 1. We went a little over today. That's okay. Learned something about the 234-4. It's only in the after 1945. It's in the 45 period, not the 44 period. So I can't use that in any of my campaigns unless I play a Fall the Reich style scenario. but I got it anyway because I built it anyway because it looks cool. Hindsight is 2020. If I was, if I didn't care, okay, if I didn't care about that, I would have made it a -1 or a -2. But I decided to make it a -4 because I just think it looks cool. We learned a little bit about magnets. Let's see if these magnets all work with each other. Okay, so that guy is good to go. Right? He reaches out and goes into place. Perfect. You know, turn it. It looks good. Let's see if this turret does the same. It does. That looks good. The colors are different for the turret to the hull. How about this 76? Oh no. He's backwards. He's reversed. Dang! Okay. Now, is it this or is it this? No, it's obviously this because this guy goes on there and he goes on there. Okay. So this turret, I jacked it up. So I got to pry that magnet out and flip it over. Do that now while I'm thinking about it. Damn. Okay. Now the magnet doesn't want to come out. Okay. It's not a terrible bad thing because I got a ton of these 76 turrets, but I just hate wasting turrets. Okay, I'm going to try something. I'm going to drill. Drill beside it so I can get something up underneath. Not that one. Okay. I need something a little bit stronger. Here we go. Oh, I'm in. Now, can I pry it out? Damn, the super glue doesn't want to go. Okay. I think this might be a lost cause. I'm going to break it. Wow, I just bent my dental thing. Okay. Garbage. I glued the magnet on upside down. Dang, even after I thought I was testing it. That just goes to show you. You really got to test it. yeah, when I was gluing on the second turret, I thought that I messed up on this turret, and I just was hoping that I didn't. But I did. Okay, no worries. Yeah, he doesn't want to go on there. And he also doesn't want to come out. He's glued in there nice and tight. That, I'm looking at my various tools that I have over here, and I wonder if I got something that's really super strong and thin. Or if it's something that would bend. I need something that could get in there. Okay, where did my pocket knife go? It's not up there. I lost my pocket knife. Really? Huh. Maybe somebody borrowed it and didn't return it. Oh, wait, I know where it is. I remember. I moved it. Okay. So let me get my pocket knife out of my little tactical carrier here. It has a million different tools. I thought about doing a review of this thing because it is super awesome. It's a DeWalt. There's my pliers. Boop, doo, 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 doo. But if I'm not using the pliers, which I'm not, fold it up, and it has a million different tools. Now, which one would be the best for this? That might be good, but believe it or not, I'm thinking the can opener. Nope. I thought there was something pencil thin in here. I got scissors, I got can openers, I got screwdrivers. I have a serrated knife. I have two different types of can openers. I have a file, which also has a ruler on it. That's not small enough. Yeah, that's not small enough. Yeah, I need something like super thin and super hard. I don't think I've got anything like that. I've got some aha, I do have something. If I could just find one. You know what is like that? Flagpoles from the old Battlefront. Yep, those are. Yep, it's in. I have a feeling it's just going to bend though. I don't. Whoop. Yep. Well, I just broke it. I broke the barrel of the guns, or the barrel of the gun. The barrel of the turret. Oh, and it's coming now too. Oh man. After I broke the turret, I can glue it back. Okay, leverage. Okay, I got it to move. I got it out. The magnet is out. And the hole is not destroyed. So I can put it back in upside down. And all it took was a flagpole from the old Battlefront. Man, those guys, they make their flagpoles like super stiff. Yep, I gotta fix the barrel. It's got a little bit of a droop. Okay, but I'm not gonna do that right now. I'm gonna let you guys go, and then we'll put that magnet back on. All right, guys. Interesting. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, before I leave, I see your chat, Jonathan. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. The Traveler campaign, I love Traveler. Traveler is probably one of my favorite, if not the favorite, role-playing game. My players just couldn't keep up the weekly or bi-weekly schedule. You know, they just couldn't. I had a D&D campaign, which I still have. I started it first, and we've been playing for a year or so before I started the Traveler campaign. And I asked the D&D players if they wouldn't mind splitting time with the Traveler campaign and play 1 week D&D, play the next Traveler, and back and forth. And they all the D&D players were okay with that, and some of the D&D players took that as an opportunity to leave my gaming space, because they basically said, well, well, if we're going to play every other week, this is a good time for me just to bow out or whatever. And then we took on some new players for D&D or whatever. But the players that moved over to Traveler, there was really only 3 players that were consistent. They were there every time we played. They were there. That was Adam, Mason, and Dylan. And we picked up a new player from South America. Brazil, maybe, I think. Maybe it was Brazil. But he would constantly miss the game. He would miss a month at a time, or he would miss a game, then he'd come in and he'd play for an hour, and he basically pulled a mark on us, right? He was basically marking us. And I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that's from the gamers. But so I couldn't really count him as a consistent player because he was never there. And then there was other players that came in that I opened up the forum to everybody that wanted to play, and we got this. I didn't want to have too many players, but we got a couple of players early on that within a couple of weeks of playing decided that my play style was not for them. Okay, that's honest, and that's fine. And so they left the game. They decided that they couldn't deal with me being so strict, right? So they split. Another guy comes in to fill the shoes. Nice guy, seemed like he's all right. He's pretty cool. But when it came to understanding the way the world works, he assumed, I don't know if he's young or if he is naive or if he is idealistic or just the opposite or whatever, but he doesn't understand the consequences of real world actions. And I think he's bringing in his experience from other referees that run their Traveler games like Dungeons and Dragons, where, you go into a cave, you kill the monster, and you come out and you get the credits, right? Well, that's not the way I run Traveler. As you know, you apparently liked the game and you watched. I try to make it, it's not a soap opera. So it's not Star Wars where, and it's not Star Trek either. So it's neither of those. Those are too, it's closer to Star Wars than it would be to Star Trek, but it's too fantasy, right? And I don't want to, and D&D is a fantasy. I don't want to have a fantasy game in space. I want to have aliens. I want to have a Serenity. I want to have the Expanse, or any of those like genres that are realistic without being fantasy. And that's my Traveler game. So you have laser rifles, sure, but I can imagine that could possibly be something in the future. Yes, you got plasma. Yeah, I can see that maybe high enough technology, sure, but you're not going to have death rays or people casting fireball or picking up. Now there is telekinetics where you could pick up a chair and throw it across the room, but the game limits that ability. So it makes that so it's super rare, and not everybody can be a Jedi, that kind of stuff. There's no lightsabers, and as soon as a player can understand that and accept that, they would enjoy the game a lot better. And this guy, the last guy, the guy that was the straw that broke the camel's back, I'm the camel. He argued with me in the games, and you probably heard it on stream. There were some other arguments that were out of the stream, but he believes that if you commit a crime, there's no consequence. He also believes it's easy to do certain things, right? Okay, so specifically, here's the straw that broke my camel's back. They're on Unity. Unity. Okay, I don't know if you're super familiar with Traveler, but Unity is an extremely high law level, 13, I think. Okay, it's so the world itself has got a very strict totalitarian style law. You can't breathe without, someone asking you, did you pay for that oxygen? Not exactly, but it's like really strict. Okay, no problem. Then there's the military. The military, hey, you didn't set me off. Don't worry about it. No, this is cool. This is I just want to explain. I have no worries about this. Don't feel like this is you have lost any standing in my cabinet. You haven't. You're good. You're 100% okay. I just want to share with you what's going on. So, and to give you a reason why, right? He thinks that a player should be able to do anything they want and have no repercussions. And he wouldn't say that. That's not what he's saying, but that came out in his actions. So when he requested to find the E4 Mafia, right, which is the E4, it makes me, okay, I'm prior service. I was in the military. I dealt with live ammo. I dealt with weapons. I knew how my unit functioned, and I had friends in the military, obviously. I knew how their units functioned because it was pretty much standardized across all the units. So I would assume, and I'm taking my personal experience into my universe because it's real to me. If we had, let's say, MPs, right? I'm not an MP. I wasn't an MP. But let's say you had an MP. I am sure that they had to sign out from their arms room their sidearm. They had to count their bullets. They had to sign for it. I have 12 bullets. I have 13 bullets. Whatever it was. I have this pistol with this many magazines, with this flashlight, this baton, whatever. I'm sure they had to sign it out. In their arms room, everything's serialized. Everything's got a unit number on it. It's probably painted with a number. That MP would go to his duty station. He would come back. He would say, here's my pistol. Here's my bullets. Check, check, check. You're good. You're free to go. And then, boom, he'd be gone. He'd go do his thing. There were no rifles, pistols, grenades, rocket launchers, whatever, just floating around out there for sale. I was in the 101st, by the way, for those of you that are curious. I was also in the 509th. I don't know if you know who they are. Very little known airborne battalion. I was located in Italy in the 509th. I had gone to 101st. I became a Pathfinder. I was a Pathfinder for a while. Then I left the service. And then when I came back into the service, they sent me to the Berlin Brigade, which we still had at the time. I was there when the Berlin Brigade was shut down, so if you know when year that was. And when we left Berlin, they sent me back to the 101st, and then I was put in the Rakkasans. So I was in at least 4 different units, and they all did it exactly the same way. I was in 2 different decades. I went in 81 and got out in 95. Everybody did it exactly the same way. There were no guns laying around. There was a time, okay, there was this one time where weapons and ammo was signed out to us, but there was also like our personal rifle and our personal belongings were signed out to us. But when we got to the airstrip, there were pallets of ammo that we could just pick and choose whatever we wanted, and we could put it in our gear without signing it out. I almost had a heart attack because it was like the candy store, right? So I wanted these grenades, I wanted this law, I wanted this AT4. Was that around? No, the AT4 wasn't around at that time. It was a law. And then I had grenades and smoke grenades. I mostly smoke grenades because of my job at the time. But we could just take whatever we wanted. We went onto the airplane. We had our parachutes on. We were ready to go. We had our rucksacks full of ammunition that we couldn't even carry. You know, we all had a radio because of our job, and we were loaded down for bear. Our unit is not technically a frontline unit. It's a behind the line unit. We would drop in behind the line and E&E around locating. We were recon. We were Pathfinders. We locate drop zones and landing zones. For the 101st, it was mostly helicopter landing zones, but we would look for different locations that we could call in the birds, call in units that set up the drop zones and stuff for incoming aircraft without being spotted or detected by the enemy. But we still had ammo with us, and we could still fight. But we fought in small teams. 6-man. Mine was a 6-man team. So we loaded on this plane, C-130, believe it or not. C-130. We were ready to go. We had all of our gear on. We're all like nervous and wondering what's happening, and we're getting ready to go. We knew where we were going. We're going to Grenada. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Grenada, escapade. It was portrayed in the Clint Eastwood movie Heartbreak Ridge. No, I don't remember the name of the movie, but either way. But they were Marines. We were the 101st Pathfinders, so we were ready to go. We had units already heading down there. We were going to go. We were going to fly in, jump in, set up the landing zones for those helicopters that were already en route. So everything's good to go. We were nervous. We didn't know what to expect. The plane is taxiing on the airstrip. We're getting ready to take off. And then there was an announcement over the intercom. And they said, "The war's over." Okay. We didn't even get off the ground, So I'm like, man, that was quick. So it was only like a 2-day battle or whatever, two-day war or something like that. So my point is, when it was all said and done, we're getting off the airplane. They had a dumpster that we were supposed to drop all of our ammo in, all of our rockets and grenades and everything else. I know for a fact everybody didn't empty their stuff out into that amnesty box, is what they called it. I know for a fact there were people in my squad that took ammo home with them. But not their rifle, not their pistol, not their radio, not, some bullets. Okay, you took some bullets home. You weren't taking a rocket launcher. They would have seen that from a mile away, so maybe a grenade if you could hide it somewhere, possibly. But that's not a pistol. That's not a rifle. All those are serial numbered, and the dumpster is, you should have seen the dumpster, the way it looked. I mean, a dumpster full of rocket launchers sticking out of the top. It was funny. But my point is, back to Traveler. I take that world knowledge home with me, and I run my game where I think the Empire is a good thing. I think the Empire is I think of it like the Federation from the Empire, from Star Trek. Everybody likes the Empire. The Empire is there for a good reason. Not everybody. There's rebels. There's people that feel like they're being oppressed and all that stuff. But overall, I think the Empire is considered to be a good thing. So it might be, actually, Clyde. Yeah, that might have been. Well, you brought your own weapon to the war with you, right? Okay. But militias and stuff. But so the people that join the Empire, which a lot of the players did and went through a career in the Empire and got their skills and stuff like that, that was all voluntary. They didn't have to do that. They could have been a civilian. They could have been a police officer. They could have been an engineer. They could have been a doctor. They could have been whatever they want. They didn't have to join the military. Players, like civilian, regular citizens of the Empire, want to be in the military. Not everybody, but it's a volunteer service. People join for the education, for the travel, for the experience, for the money, whatever. But there is the draft as well. So, okay, I get the draft. So there's draftees everywhere, but it's primarily volunteer. So what does that tell me? That tells me that the citizens like the Empire. The Empire, I run it like they're there to protect the citizens. The laws are all set up to protect citizens. They're not there to dominate the worlds. They don't even allow that. The worlds have their own governments. And the Empire says, hands off, we don't mess with you. You have your own laws and your own law levels, your own government categories and stuff like that. We manage the space between planets, and we keep your planet safe from invasion. So that's where the taxes come from. Okay. That's the way I run it. So when he said E4 Mafia, what I was thinking was, and this went through my mind, he either is personally a criminal in his mind. He's either personally nefarious, less than honorable, or he was in a unit that was corrupt, involved in less than honorable dealings. I feel he was not in, or he tried to get in and they said, no, you have a mental condition. So he's telling me this stuff from not a place of personal experience, but a place of, I heard about this, I have friends that tell me about this, without personally experiencing it. So he wanted to, and this is what broke the camel's back, and I'm sorry it took me a while to get here, but I just wanted to give you a thumbs up. Hey, there's Cricket. He wanted to buy a 9mm pistol. And I said, okay, the law level is extremely high on this planet. It's going to be hard to go out. You can't just go to a gun shop and buy a 9mm pistol. It's outlawed, or it's against the law. But that doesn't mean there aren't people out there. There's criminals everywhere. So they might sell you one on the black market, which is the way it goes. There might be a way you can buy it on the black market. And he's like, no, I shouldn't have to go to the black market. I should just go to a guy in the Navy and ask him if he would sell me his pistol. What? You can't just... I said, okay, let's role play this out. And this is where my mind shut down. I basically had a hemorrhage. I said, okay, let's role play this out. And we can narrate it. We don't actually have to say, you walk up to this guard and you do this. I said, how are you going to do this? Tell me. Explain to me who you go and see. And he said, well, I don't know exactly how to do it, but my character would know how to do it. Okay. All right. Which is possibly true because, your characters they have different experiences than what you do. Plus they live in that universe. So I'm thinking, okay, your character might know that. We're going to make some rolls to see if he knows where to go or who to talk to. And at that point, I thought I was being very, and you might even, in one of our last videos, that might have been what I'm talking about. He didn't accept that. He said, that's not good enough. And he logged out. He just didn't say goodbye, didn't say a word, just disappeared off the screen, right? I didn't notice this. I wasn't staring at my Discord or whatever. He just, boop, gone, out of Discord. Removed me as a friend. Left my Discord channel. Completely gone, 100%, just poof. Off the Roll20 system that we were using to run the game. Gone. I didn't know this. I continued to explain. I was like, if you want to, you can go to the on planet and we can roll to see if you can find a black market, and then we can roll to see. And then I said, the price is going to be a little bit higher because you're buying it on the black market. So it's not going to be cheaper. It's going to be higher, right? And the rule book explains all this. And the rule book even says it's like 2 times higher, or maybe 3 times, 2 or 3 times, right? And you roll a die and you determine what the percentage. It might even be only like 1.5%. It could even be lower based on your die roll. You could actually find somebody that's just trying to unload something. But I just said it's probably going to be higher. And then I glanced over at Discord. He's gone. And I'm like, oh man, wow, he's gone. Yeah, rage quit. That's right. That's right. But I've rage quit before. I admit it. I've done it. Instead of throwing my headset halfway across the room, getting up and stomping around, I just hit the power button. Boop, gone. I've done it. I've done it. So I get that it was against his. Like it frustrated him to the point where he didn't want to be in the game anymore, and that's okay. I'm okay with you wanting to leave my game. I'm not going to handcuff you down to a chair and say, you have to play my game. That's being unrealistic. That's making me the dictator, right? I don't care if you want to leave the game or not. And I understand that we're going to have differences of opinions. I'm going to say the sky is red, and you're going to say, well, actually it's blue, but there's the point. I'm the referee. The sky is red. You can't tell me the sky is blue. And immediately after that, I go to my D&D group and I tell them what happened in my Traveler game. And I let them know, I said, I want you to know that I'm not here to penalize you guys, right? I'm not here to not allow you to do something. I'm going to do everything in my power to justify it in my head how you're getting away with whatever you're trying to do. And if there's a rule already in the book or already in place, we're going to use that rule because that's kind of unbiased, right? And so I said, my job is to make it hard on you, to make it challenging, to give you obstacles that you have to overcome, not just to feed you and allow you to do whatever you want. That's not what a referee is all about, in my opinion. And they were all good with it. D&D crew, they're pretty solid. It was just those random Traveler players that came in. And now, I want to say this out loud, I have a D&D player that is difficult. He's not impossible. He's not unreasonable. He's just difficult because he does two things that annoy me. He talks over me when I'm trying to explain stuff in the game. So I'm trying to you see a cave. Wait a second. I didn't even, wait till I'm done. It's got stalagmites. And then I'm like, lately I've been saying, are you going to let me finish? That bugs me. And I even took these players off to the side, everybody together, so I wasn't needling in anybody specific. I said, when I'm talking, let me finish talking because there might be an important thing the rest of the players are trying to hear. And if one of you, step up and basically trying to be, what's the word, diplomatic about it and not name anybody. But lately, he just does it blatantly, and I have to name it, stop him and say, hold on, let me finish. Hold on, stop, wait, let me finish. Okay, I can get away with that. That's no big deal. But when we talk about the rules, or if he contradicts something based on his understanding of the way the universe works, I stop and I think, is he right? Because he could be right. Yes or no. And if he's not right, I say, no, that's not the way it is. This is the way it is. Or if he is right, but I've made a conscious decision not to do it that way, I succumb to his misunderstanding of the rule. I say, yeah, that's the way it is in the book, but that's not the way I run it. And that should be enough to stop any misunderstanding. But no, the same player will say, well, that's not the way it says it in the wiki, or that's not the way it is in the rule book. The rule book states exactly this, and this, being a rules lawyer, right? Which I appreciate people knowing the rules and understanding the rules and having a full grasp of the rules. It makes running the game easier until they disagree with me. And then I tell them, well, that's not the way we do it here. I'm doing it this way because this is the way I want to do it. No, but you can't do it that way. And that's where the problem is. When it starts to become me wrong and I'm right and there's no other answer, that's when I have a problem. First of all, I'm the referee. I cannot be wrong. Even if I am wrong, you have to accept it as right, whether I'm wrong or not. So just live with it. If you want to point it out and say, well, that's not the way it is in the book, and then let me respond with, but that's not the way we do it, or, oh, really? Because sometimes I'll go back to the book and I'll say, oh, man, you're right. Because maybe I misinterpreted the rule or something. That's okay. But once I have made a rule calling, you have to stop. and move on. And if you don't, you've been put on my S list. And I have one player in my D&D that's on my S list, but it's not to the point where I feel like we need to get him out of the game. He's just abrasive. You know, he's disruptive a little bit, but I think it's innocent. I don't think he's trying to be a jerk, you know, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, so I don't have a problem with him. It's just that he rubs me the wrong way. Do I want to start the Traveler game back? I do. I want to bring that game back. But I'm going to wait till the end of this D&D game. Because the how do I explain it? I felt stress, internal stress, mainly because of all the players that were pissing me off, but mainly, or in addition to that, I had to concentrate on two different worlds, and I had to make content for both of these worlds, and it's just too much for me, especially with painting and running my business and everything else. I just couldn't do it. So I decided I'm just going to stick with one game and go with it. And we're playing D&D. And once the D&D game's over, I'm going to restart something. It might be Traveler. It might be an XCOM role-playing game that I've been toying with in my head. I want to do an XCOM style RPG where the players are in an XCOM world. And I think I would have a really good time with that. I also thought I even bought, you probably can't see it on the camera, but I've got this 150 scale, which is pretty close to 156, but it's a 150 scale Chinook. And I was going to use that on tabletop. We were going to do a tabletop version of Xenonauts. Do you remember Xenonauts? Xenonauts is like an original XCOM style game. That's my ice maker making noise. And the way you get deployed is not a Sky Ranger. You get deployed in a Chinook. What kind of weapons are you carrying? M4, M60. You know, you got modern year 2000 or 2020 rifles. You know, you get deployed in a helicopter or maybe an Osprey, you know, or you get deployed. I think I think Xenonauts 2 deploys you in Osprey, where Xenonauts 1 deployed you in a Chinook. It's Earth. It's alien invasion, you know, but it's not like XCOM was under the impression that there was this massive alien invasion across the entire world, where Xenonauts is more like UFO. If you remember that TV series, there's certain areas where aliens land to do their duty, their business, and you as an anti-terrestrial, extraterrestrial unit, you get deployed to go deal with that. I struggled with actually starting that game because it has a level of tactical, like squares, inches, die rolls, hit points. It has all that. And that's easy to convert to D&D 2nd edition, believe it or not, because of the actions, the way they work, the bonus actions, the free actions, all that comes at the skills that you give you certain actions. it works out perfect for 2nd edition D&D. But what about the role playing? Is there any role playing? I mean, I understand the get on the map and run around. Yeah, you've got bases that you build or have built, or maybe they're already built and you're just a guy on the base. Are you going to role play with the engineer, in the lab, or the scientist in the laboratory? You're going to, how is that actually going to work? But then again, I thought about it. I mean, role playing is really interactions between characters, and you don't really have to have a reason to role play. You should just role play, right? You should just get in there and interact with the bartender or whatever. But I was thinking that if you do like an XCOM 2, it's already after the invasion. Everything is settled down. There is no man's land areas in between the major city centers, right? And then a TV series came out, The Colony. I don't know if you've seen The Colony. If you haven't seen The Colony, it is XCOM 2. So if you like XCOM 2, you would love The Colony. The Colony takes one of those city centers that have Advent running around. You got statues to the aliens. You've got Advent running around. They call them red caps because they wear these red helmets, but they have their faces covered. They gather people up and they send them off to who knows where. They have drones flying around. They have these walker machines that go around and vaporize people if they're doing the wrong thing. They have a resistance. You've got the rebel forces fighting against Advent. The Red Caps. and then they get out of the city center and they go further north, like to Seattle. And when they do, there are people living in the no man's land, but it's pretty much nobody living between the city centers. It's a really good. I was disappointed when they ended The Colony. The Colony was one of my favorite because I'm a big XCOM player. So I was going to combine Xenonauts 2, XCOM 1 and 2. I was going to add a little bit of The Colony in there. I was going to put, I was going to try to make my own universe, my own world, but it's going to be pretty much like XCOM 2. I'm not going to use The Chosen. That's some bullshit. Not going to do that. So I thought about that. I even tried a Mass Effect role-playing game for a little while. That using Traveler. I actually used Traveler, modified it for Mass Effect. That didn't work. It didn't work the way I wanted it to work. All right, guys. I've been on here way too long. It's already 2 o'clock. I have to let you go. I've got to get some stuff done. And that is correct. Colony has a dude from Lost in it. Yes. Yes, he does. Yeah, he's the main protagonist. Yeah, he's the main guy they follow around. He's ex-military. But I